Hello, my name is Salvatore Corona, Solution Executive Environmental with Bentley Systems. I'm going to be discussing the interoperability between gINT and Geo Web Publisher. This is the third of four short presentations. In the introduction, we covered the general overview and the concepts and benefits. And in the second presentation, we viewed the gINT data within the Geo Web Publisher environment. Now we're going to talk about the configuration of gINT to do what we saw in Geo Web Publisher. And in the final presentation, we're going to be talking about configuring Geo Web Publisher. So as an overview for gINT configuration, if you just want to show data with no reports, there's nothing to do in gINT. You're finished as soon as you type your data in. And once it's linked in to Geo Web Publisher, which is done on the Geo Web Publisher side, your data will show up as you want it to show up. Now, if you want to display gINT-generated reports, like we saw in the second demonstration, we looked at borehole logs, which are in PDF format, and fence diagrams, also in PDF. All that has to be done are some small, easy changes to the naming and the storage of the file. You would still generate those files as you normally would with some very small differences. Now, if you want to link gINT records to external graphic objects, linkage fields would be necessary in your database. And the section lines that we saw with the letters along the side, those were actually stored in MicroStation. And we needed a link file, a link field within the gINT database that ties each alignment, which is what those lines are. They're alignments through the site to the particular line that you saw, which came from a MicroStation DGN file. And those, by the way, those alignments that were there and are used in gINT can be imported from land XML files, and also can be put in manually and imported from Excel. All right, let's look at it. So let's look inside of gINT right now. A little overview for people that have never seen gINT. This is our input application, and this is the database we're looking at. Each of these tabs is a table in the SQL Server database that we're using, back end. And in terms of the database, gINT supports access, but in an access database, you have only one project per access file. That could certainly be linked to Geo Web Publisher as well. But you would only see one project's worth of data. With the SQL Server database, you have a multiple project database, and you can have as many projects as you wish. And when support for Oracle comes out in gINT, which we're working on now, then that will also work. It doesn't matter. You can use any one of those three. So each of these tabs are tables. You can make as many tables as you wish, name them whatever you like, put in whatever fields you like. And for those that do know about gINT, have used it, and have not seen the enterprise interface, this is gINT Professional Plus version. The only difference between the access view you would see inside of input are very few. The only differences are the project table has multiple records instead of one. You have this filter option, which allows you to type in filters so that you only see the projects and boreholes you want to see. So for example, you might want to lay out a rectangular area of coordinates that you want to see the boreholes in, and applying that filter, you would only see the projects and boreholes that apply. And you can set up whatever criteria you want. You can store as many filters as you wish and switch between them. The only other difference you're going to see between the single project database and the multiple project database is here. When you're out of the project table, you will see a project selector, so you can switch between projects very quickly in any table without having to go back to project and switch the project. So that's just a quick overview, and of course, whatever data you want here, you can have as much or as little as you like. We have clients with 5 tables in their database, and we have clients with over 400 tables in their database. So nothing needs to be done on the input side of GINT in the configuration. One of the main concepts and advantages of the linkage to Geo Web Publisher is that we are publishing your data. You don't need to make up information so that it can be published. You go about your normal workflows, and the data will appear as you want it to appear in Geo Web Publisher. And in the Geo Web Publisher model, we have set up 2 sets of GINT reports that are displayed. Borehole logs and sections, which are called fences in GINT. You'd be generating these anyway in your normal course of work. The only requirement to publish them in Geo Web Publisher are a naming convention and a storage location. Let's see how this works. We're going to go to Output. Now the Output application group has 9 report styles: logs, fences, graphs, etc. And this last tab here, which again only appears in GINT Professional Plus, is a data export option. It works like data export in the input application, except it makes available to you filtering of various kinds that you have in output. All right, so within each report style, you can have as many reports as you want. We happen to have 2 reports here that we're using on this demonstration. And we're going to start with the log of boring. It doesn't matter which one. The interface difference, again, between single project and enterprise. In enterprise, we have you specify the data source, which is a database within a particular SQL server. And then you pick the project or projects you want. So I can pick any one of these. I could pick those. And now we have all 3 of the projects. And then we can pick the boreholes we want, and we can pick them all or pick a certain number, whatever we like, etc. And I can go through and pick whatever I like. But that can get pretty tedious and difficult when you're looking at dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of projects. So we want to do it in a little better manner. The other problem with this technique is that we're going to be outputting different logs to different forms. The log of boring covers the rotary core holes and the cable percussion holes. And the static cone penetrometer holes are covered by the log of static cone. So we need to tell the program which boreholes we want. Now we could go through and again pick them and know which are which. But a better technique all around is to just pick no projects, which means we want them all from the entire database. And we're going to set up a criteria. We're going to say the hole type is not equal to static cone penetrometer. That will leave all the others. You know, your criteria might be more complex depending on how many hole types you have. If the other way to do it, we could say equals CP or equals RC. That's the other approach. All right, so that sets that up. Now we're going to output to a PDF file. So we're going to go to the folder we want. And I've set up 3 folders. It's not necessary. You can put them all in one folder. But whatever you do, you've got to coordinate with the Geo Web Publisher person that's configuring Geo Web Publisher. We'll see that in the next presentation. The Geo Web Publisher configuration person needs to know what folder these different types of files are in, and it needs to know the naming convention. All right. So we have a logs folder. This is where it's going to go ultimately, and this is the final result. But right now, you're going to name them since we're going to be outputting lots and lots of these, the name is not important. You can put any name you like. And by default, the program will output all of the PDFs to this one file. But we don't want that. We want each borehole to a separate PDF file. So that's where this comes in. When you mark each data set to individual file, the file name goes away. It's replaced by a star. Now you can set the resolution, password, etc. The only option we need to deal with is the naming. And it remembered my last naming, and this is exactly what we want. By default, if you leave this blank, I'll do that, it will name each borehole by the borehole name. So it'd be b-1.pdf, b-2.pdf, etc. That doesn't work in a multiple project environment. Within many projects, you could have many b-1s. So that's not unique enough. So we want to prepend the name with something that will make it unique. In this case, some kind of project, one of the project fields. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the project identifier. And you don't have to type this. You can pick it from the data tool and paste. Then we're going to put a dash. And then we're going to go to the whole table, or point table. And we're going to go with the point ID, the borehole name. So each file would be the project identifier dash the borehole name and .pdf. And on the Geo Web Publisher configuration, that will be built into the configuration dialog, so that the Geo Web Publisher knows when you click on this borehole which PDF to link to it. And the other options we don't need to deal with here. And then you would just export, and the result is what we see here. And then we would switch to the log of static cone, and we would change this to equals static cone. Everything else stays the same. We hit export, and it's off, and that's completed. And now we want to do the fence diagrams. Go to fences, and here the process is just as straightforward as you would normally do your fences. You could pick your project, pick your boreholes, and then output. The only thing again is the naming. In this case, you will need, we've named it by the project identifier, a dash, and the alignment name that the fence diagram is associated with. And again, we've set up some filtering so that we don't have to actually pick the project in the holes. First of all, we pick the alignment we want. So here are all our alignments. And again, these alignments are stored in the GINT database, and they can be typed in manually, imported from an Excel file if you have that data in that format, or can put that data in that format, or imported from a land XML file. So you can have an alignment in a Bentley civil product like InRoads or GeoPack or MX Road, and you have alignments there, your road alignments. And you can export that to a land XML file and bring it into GINT. So I'm going to pick this alignment, and the program will only select boreholes that project perpendicular to that alignment. Now that's still too many boreholes, or boreholes far away from the alignment that we want. And we can just set up a distance, a maximum baseline offset, let's say 50 meters. And it will take boreholes that project perpendicular to the baseline and are within 50 meters of that baseline. And then you pick your file. Again, we'll go back there just to show you PDFs, sections, and the naming is the project identifier -A, -B, -C, etc. That's how that is done. And then you export, and you are finished. And that completes the configuration on the GINT side. Oops, sorry. So in summary, work with GINT the way you always do. There's little or no change in your workflow necessary to make full use of Geo Web Publisher. And the model will capture any new and updated data and reports. And you can publish whatever views of the data you wish and link whatever reports from GINT you wish. Thank you for your time, and I would encourage you to continue with the fourth presentation on configuring Geo Web Publisher. Thank you.